Hey, it's Paul. Before we get started, we need to make sure that you, the listener, knows that we are not mental health professionals and not qualified to prescribe therapies or therapeutic advice. We are also not your gurus and have no aspirations in that direction. We are simply two people who are trying to feel better and do better in our lives, just like you. And now, on with the show.
Freedom. Paul, Merry Christmas! Jingle bells, Batman bells,
No.
later.
No!
What?
No, stop doing that. That's
Why?
over. Why are you...
It's holidays.
That's over. Stop doing that.
All right, wait. Should all the switches
No,
be
that's over too. Stop assaulting me with Christmas. That is over. We are on to the next thing. Why are you singing Christmas carols and Robert Burns poems at me?
Oh, well, way to be the Grinch.
Yes, I am the Grinch.
Well, what are we talking about then?
Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. It's your week to choose.
Right. Oh, well, since I'm in the holiday craziness, why don't we talk about New Year, New Us?
Oh, New Year, New Us. Okay. All right. So we'll just,
Yeah.
so we're doing, okay. All right. I get the Christmas carols now. So we'll do a year-end recap, and then we'll talk about what we're thinking for 2025.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
And maybe inspire some folks to make some plans as well.
Yeah, plans, not resolutions.
No,
We're not into those, right?
we don't do resolutions here. Just plans.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
I'll see you in the studio on Thursday.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. Bye. If we don't take the time to look behind us, how will we know where we are so that we're able to move forward to the next iteration of our life's GPS?
Entering a new year opens up the opportunity to reflect on what we've experienced the past 365 days prior. The joy, the grief, where we found ease and where we found challenges, ultimately where we grew and what we learned about ourselves and our lives.
And reflecting on that growth allows us to sidestep the same challenging lessons that the universe will inevitably continue to put on our path so that we can make better decisions for the future. Join us as we reflect on what we learned about ourselves and our life experiences in the past year and what we're looking forward to in the next.
So if you're ready for takeoff,
let's go.
Freedom over fame, freedom over fame. The cycle stays the same.
All right. Well, hello.
Hello.
Hello, podcast listeners.
This is how we're starting the show now. Every time we're just like, hi, whatever.
I know. Hey, I'm Nora.
And I'm Paul. Hello.
And if you are a recurring listener, welcome back and thank you.
Yes.
And if this is your first time, hello.
Thank you for coming
welcome.
along. We
Yes.
appreciate it. Yeah,
Yes,
we appreciate
absolutely.
it. So today, Nora, what are we talking about here? We're talking about the old, we're talking about the new, we're talking about the year past, we're talking about the year coming. So we're going to do a year-end roundup, and then we're going to look forward a little bit, right?
Yes.
And we're going to talk about some New Year's rituals that we both have, and
what we learned.
about what we learned, but also what we're looking forward to, right?
Yeah.
It's probably 2024 wasn't the year any of us planned,
Nope.
and like no year is, right? So having that information at our disposal, what are we doing going forward?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Also, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah,
That's
absolutely. Right. We hope you had a good and safe holiday season. And for those of you who are just wishing it was over, it is now. So thank you.
There it is.
There it is.
Yes. We'll see what new fresh hell awaits.
That's right.
I kid.
I kid.
There will be some fresh hell and there will be some joy. So
yeah. As there always is.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, let's dig into it, shall we?
Paul, you want to go first? I'm gonna.
Sure.
My first question for you.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Going into 2024, did you have, I know not any expectations because neither of us really expect anything, but did you have any intentions going into 2024, or do you ever do that? Or how did you think 2024 might look for you?
Well, beginning of 2024 is when I opened my store. So I had some intentions about running a successful antique store, in Point Richmond and stuff like that. And I closed it 8 months later, but that's fine too. It was all hold, it was a time for me to experiment easily with being a shop owner without too much pressure, because the rent wasn't very high. It was high, but not very high. And, I was at least making the rent every month that I was in there. So it's like, okay, I can build this type of thing, and then kind of realized that it wasn't the right place for it. It wasn't the right physical location for it. There wasn't enough walking traffic, and it wasn't really my crowd of things that I had in the store. So closed that in that summer. So I didn't intend to close it, that's for sure. But I did intend to go in with the intention of learning how to be a shop owner. And I did that, which was great. And now it's sort of out of my system, and I don't need to do it again. It's sort of like a lot of things I've done in my career since I've had 18 careers, right? I try something because I really want to know how to do it. And it's always seemed attractive. I've always seemed to want to be a shop owner since I was a kid at some point, and it was great to get an opportunity to do that. Now that I've done it, I don't need to do it again.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. So that was one big thing that happened in the year. I would say another big thing is that I finally got this at the end of last, in October, I finally got this space that I'm living in now finished. And that was a 2-year project to get this space done so I could live in it. And a lot of stress and a lot of money and a lot of what am I going to do next
more
type
gray
of questions.
Hair.
Yeah, a lot of gray hair, a lot of wrinkles, a lot of uncomfortable phone conversations with subcontractors and contractors, stuff like that. So that was another big thing that kind of got off my plate in 2024. Of course, in the election, personally, I wish it would have gone differently, but here we are now. Yeah, we're not in charge. I had great hopes for it, but no expectation for it. So there you go. We're not in charge of that. And so now, looking into 2025, we got to, play with the hand we're dealt.
Yep.
And make the.
Know when to hold them. Know when to fold.
Thanks, Kenny Rogers. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Love that song. Sorry.
Yeah. Good.
I had to tie it in somehow.
Yeah. Anyway, how about you, Nora? How about you with 2024? Did it go as you expected or differently? Or?
Oh God, no.
Yeah. Tell us about your 2024.
Again, I don't go in with expectations, but I go in with like some hopes and some intentions typically. Yeah. 2024 was challenging in new ways that I've never really excuse my language. Actually, no, that's me. So sorry if you have kids around.
It's like I hope you're not making that resolution, because that's going to be the worst for you to keep.
I'll never,
oh my God,
ever be able to get through life.
You won't make it till Friday, and today's Thursday.
It is my right as being from Irish descent.
Oh, and from Philadelphia. Don't forget that. Yeah. So go ahead.
No, yeah. 2024 was, I feel like I can kind of break down the year and the chaos of the personal chaos for me. It started with, I'll just give some bullet points. Basically moving my mom out of my childhood home, basically a whole crazy chaotic process of moving money that we were not expecting to let go of out of like our savings and investments and stuff, to basically pay off some of the costs of my mom's move. And sparing my childhood home from being put on the market, and because that is like the biggest asset.
Right.
And like trying to think like a wealthy person, even though I am not a wealthy person. And
that's
have
hard
never
to
grown
do.
up in that. And but Kevin and I had a very stressful first half of the year of like, and in there was a little minor health crisis that is, I'm okay, thankfully, but there was like a scare there. So that really kind of threw me into some PTSD stuff from my own cancer diagnosis. I'm okay, thankfully. So
we're all thankful.
Yes, exactly. But that did not help in the middle of all this. And then the second half of the year was getting to work on the house and basically fixing about 30 plus years of stuff that has not been updated or fixed, and in order to try to get this house in a place where we could rent it.
Yeah.
And that was massive. All those projects were mostly my husband and I putting in the time and the blood, sweat, and tears and money to essentially work all day, finish up our work days, go over to the house, put in
work all
night, come home, eat dinner at 10 p.m. and rinse and repeat for months.
That's rough in your 30s, but that's extra rough when you're pushing 50 or more.
Well, and that was like, so last year, Kevin in December turned 50, and like it was almost like what just happened, because we've just been so consumed. We did a lot of pouring out in 2024
Yeah.
and not much filling our own cups. And so we had a lot of visitors, which was great to see people, but like our entire summer was kind of eaten up by other people coming to visit. So we
Right.
didn't really get to plan the kind of vacations and stuff that Kevin and I have envisioned for ourselves. And also we were saving money since we had essentially just dropped a
Spend it
lot of
all. Yeah.
yeah, for my mom.
Yeah.
And her well-being.
Yeah.
So there's that. There was, I had 4 funerals in 5 months, at the from August to the end of the year. That
Yeah. It was
sucked.
a lot.
So yeah, there was just a lot of just curveballs thrown our way, but
Yeah.
we are in a better place right now, and just grateful, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. And also, we started this podcast last year. We should say
Yeah, that
right?
was a
Yeah,
huge
so
highlight. Sorry, I
that
got
was a
very
huge highlight.
excited.
Yeah. No, it's
I
okay.
know.
Yeah. I like that. I like it. Yeah.
I know. I forgot to say that, and that was actually on my little bullet point list of stuff to talk about. But yes, I'm super, Paul. I love doing this with you. This
I love
was
doing this with you too.
one of the things that was filling my cup up.
Yeah.
Even though it's work, we put in a lot of work in this. So
Yeah.
but I think we're finding a flow that we both like.
Yeah, me
dig
too.
it. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. So that was a big highlight for me too, was starting this podcast. And there were other highlights too. I want to mention my men's group real quick. I started that last year. I mean, it's just recently. I started in October, so it doesn't seem like it was a whole year of experience there. But since October, it's grown, and the guys have gotten more committed to it, and we just passed a holiday period where we really didn't meet for 2 weeks basically, and we got back this week, and I really missed it. I really loved being back in it. And it's so funny that something I just created, a few months ago is now such an integral part of my life. But man, I can't wait for Tuesday nights always, because that's my men's group night.
Yeah.
It's really great to be able to have that community to bounce things off of, and stuff like that. So that was a real highlight of my year.
Super excited to witness the momentum of this group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going. It's already having its own momentum. Not only are we meeting on Tuesdays, but we're walking on Sundays down by the lake in Oakland and things like that. And not everybody shows up to that, but the ones who do, like I've said in the past, men are good at sharing shoulder to shoulder. We're not so good at doing it eye to eye. So you learn different stuff when you walk with somebody than you do when you're on a Zoom call with them. And so that's been really valuable for me. And another real touchstone in my weekend is that not only do I have Tuesday night, I also have Sunday morning to walk with the guys, and it's been really great. Yeah, it's been really great.
I also am a firm believer that, especially in interpersonal communication, that just being in someone's presence, there's a certain energy you can't recreate on a screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I'm grateful for the screens if that's the only way to connect. But
yeah, me too. We wouldn't be able to do Tuesday night if it was not for Zoom. But we do have that in-person thing every week now, so that's an option for people who want to come and connect in person, and it's really nice to have both.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
well, I hope if anyone's listening and you're thinking about starting a men's group, do it.
Yeah, please do. Please do it. It's necessary, and I'll talk a little bit more about it when we talk about looking forward in the next year. But actually, I'll tell you a little something now though. Like I was one thing I've always struggled with, and listeners will know this, is like this sort of capitalist idea that we're always supposed to be producing, right?
Yeah.
That we're always supposed to be doing something, and somehow I have this bar in my head that I have to reach. That if I don't reach that bar, then I don't feel like I've done enough.
You're like a failure, quote unquote.
Right. Well,
I hate that shit.
It's all of that bad self-talk tape loop that society's just handed us, and and the truth is that nobody's really paying attention to what you're doing anyway. And I doubt that anybody looking from the outside, even if they were paying attention, would have the opinion of, man, that guy should do more. I mean, it's just not that way. But I brought it to men's group because it's an old tape loop, and it keeps all the trauma that I've dealt with through EMDR and therapy, meditation, psychedelics, all that stuff. Great, but this is a hole I can't seem to fill. A lot of the time, this is something that just keeps reopening itself. And so I brought it to men's group the other night, and they were so great about it. It was exactly what I needed without giving me any advice. They just kind of listed off, just from hearing me talk, all the things that I've done and all the work that I've done, and how much men's group was important. Not just working men's group, but they were talking about my store, taking care of my mom, doing redecorating my partner's house over December, working with clients,
your new place,
my new redecorating my new place, all this stuff. And it was really great to just hear a list read back to me and, hear them all say, like, nobody thinks you're not doing enough,
Yeah.
and it was really great. It really kind of punctured it a little bit. And I feel different since then. So,
Right.
thank goodness for that. So that was a highlight of, that was this year. But
Oh, I love that.
a highlight of having men's group was to have that community where they just say, yeah, I think you ought to look at this. Maybe that's not so true, and
Yeah.
here's the evidence for it. And it's nice. It's nice, and it's nice when a group does it for you,
It's nice
and
when
not just a single person.
it's nice when your inner voice isn't telling you bullshit, but the voices around you are telling you bullshit. And
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Wait a minute, that's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, oh wait, it is bullshit.
Yeah, yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for that reminder.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that.
Absolutely. So
Um,
yeah. So that's one reason I love having this group, and I was so glad I started it in 2024, is because it provides that kind of support for me, and not only me, but every other guy in the group. And we talk about some serious stuff in there,
Mhm.
some really
Yeah.
serious stuff that we don't usually talk about when we're together. But in this context, people seem, free to do that.
Oh,
And
that's
it's awesome. It's incredible. It's men growing, together,
Ah,
which is really
yes.
nice. Yeah.
That makes me very, very, very
Really,
happy.
really nice. It's something the world needs. We've talked about that much
Yes,
before.
please.
And
Keep going.
thank you for inspiring me to keep going with this group too.
Oh,
and
dude, thank
to
you.
start it. So
Well,
because
you're welcome.
you had a good you had a big sort of influence on me starting it to begin with, because it's it's a lot to
Aw.
organize a group and wonder if people will come, and then you got to spend some money on the meetup and all that stuff, and it was just like, I don't know how this is going to work, but I'll just try it. And it's been phenomenal. So
Mhm.
great. Perfect
Thanks,
for me.
dude.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
really means, and likewise, you've really I'm braver and stronger with you
Oh,
in my life. So
that's nice.
yeah, and I've gotten a lot more intention going into like 2025, and like kind of
Hmm.
segueing into some of this
Yeah.
is surrounding myself with people that I feel stronger and braver with.
Hmm.
And my husband, I tell him that all the time because we really are more powerful together.
Hmm. Yeah.
But also all of my friends like that, especially again, I'm not going to get into the election, but the
Hmm.
election was really disheartening for me,
Yeah.
and the way my intention to see my way through this era, however long it's going to be and whatever it's going to hold, is to bring my good friends and family in closer and to really reinforce those connections and that community and the
Yeah.
support
Yeah.
with the people who I feel that just make me a better person and that we're better together.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, I'll jump in this. Every year I usually try to, it's not that I think of a word, but I try to wait for a word to come to me.
Hmm.
Kind of as like not the theme of the year, but something like an intention. And
Yeah.
past years, for example, there was one year the word receive came to me because
Hmm.
I'm trying to learn to receive.
Yeah. Yeah. Me
You
too.
know, and what came to me at the beginning of this year was curate.
Hmm.
And I don't mean that in the sense of like only nice things in my house, like a museum, not
Yeah. Yeah.
necessarily like that, but I do want to get intentional with less stuff so that it has what I curate out that doesn't have either I'm not excited about, it doesn't bring me like Marie Kondo joy, or
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't serve me the
Yeah.
way it used to, is to like donate it, recycle it, get it out so that the stuff that I do have has more meaning and value
And it
to
sounds like you're doing that with the rest of your life too. It sounds like
trying.
not just things, but it's
Exactly.
also like relationships and things like that.
Exactly.
You're curating your group as well as
Yep.
curating your space, and I feel
Yep.
like I'm doing that same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And the other thing, and we've talked about this, Paul, is like the intention is not to chase.
Yeah,
The intention is to attract, right? I'm not
attracts.
chasing people. I'm not
Yeah,
chasing the dollar. I
yeah,
mean, I'm going to try to build to attract it to me. And
yeah.
so like I have more intention with that. I don't know how, but I feel like the path will
Well,
open
how
up to
isn't
me
how
all.
the attraction how isn't how the attraction works anyway. You know
Right.
that, right? So it
Exactly.
does, the how doesn't matter. It's the why that matters, right?
Yes,
And
exactly. Like
yeah,
I'm just my energy. As I get older, I'm realizing that my energy is not what it was when I was 20, and
yeah.
I don't have the energy to chase people and to chase friendships. And if
Tell me
like
about it.
there are
Yeah,
people I love dearly in my life that have been like I'm friends with, and I will always consider them friends.
yeah,
But for some of them, I'm chasing those friendships, and
yeah,
so I'm just kind of not doing that. Like if they want to build and maintain these relationships, then I'm open. I'm here.
I feel like that's a huge step for you because, I've heard you talk in the past about how, it's you being the position you're in the family of being the peacemaker and being the one who fixes everything, right?
Yep,
It
I
must
am
be really
definitely the
hard.
fixer role.
Yeah, it must be really hard for you not to chase those friendships
Mm-hmm.
because, you have that attitude, not just you, but a lot of people have it. I do too. If I don't do it, then who will do it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the answer is maybe nobody. But
Right.
that sounds like a really brave choice for you for 2025 is to
It
lean into
is.
that kind of curation.
And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I don't love those people and that like I'm like cutting them out and
Of
like
course.
it's
Of
just it's
course
not
not.
that at all. It's just
Yeah.
that like I know that a lot of people have a lot going on, like we all do, right?
Yeah.
Like and I'm not a parent, but I know parenting is a very, especially in the States, like a very demanding role. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I understand that, and usually Kevin and I typically end up with like our friends who are parents, like not all the time. We have parent friends that like make the effort to see us, and we really appreciate that. And whenever they do, we try to make it as fun
Yeah.
and rewarding and engaging as possible,
Right.
because we appreciate that. But like I understand that I have a lot of friends who are like raising kids and they don't have the energy or the time, and
Of course.
there's no, like no harm, no foul with that. But what I'm not going to do is just like continue chasing because I don't have the energy for it.
Yeah. You're gonna end up with a lot of spare time this year, which is great. That's
I
really
need
good.
rest. That's
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
last year was just it was a lot of pouring out,
Yeah.
and by the end of the year I was just like I just want quiet and rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm burnt out. So
I'm totally with you on that. I was thinking about after you did your word, I was thinking about my words. I don't think I've narrowed it down to one like you have, like curation, but I think that rest is one of my words because
Mhm.
I'm not good at it, and that goes with the
Same.
tape loop of always needing to be doing something,
Yep.
and then people pleasing at the same time. Hello trauma,
Yep.
as usual. And but the other one is more about reception. It's more about attraction too, and not chasing at the same
Mhm.
time because I feel like I finally need to just kind of.
Stop stealing my shit, dude.
Well,
I'm
sorry,
kidding. I'm kidding.
but it's just the way
Steal
it
all
is.
you
It's
want.
true. It's true. But you inspired me too. I started thinking about all kinds of stuff. I mean, one is community for sure. Like
Yeah.
keep community building. Like I'm
Mhm.
doing that. I just need to stay on that road. Like don't let that
Yep.
slip because it's become an important part of my life. Keep that in there. So that's a keeper. And then
Yep.
there's changers, and one of those changers is attract, don't chase, because that tape loop I was talking about before. Like I
Mhm.
finally feel like I need, and I felt like this for a long time, but I feel like I'm almost ready to really let go of everything.
Right.
Let go of concern about money, about relationships I have, about friendships, about all that stuff. Just let everything be and just let myself be and not put this enormous pressure on myself to be anything other than what I am,
Right.
and
Mhm.
that can change, but
Right.
that sort of so I guess it's acceptance is one thing, rest is another thing, and then receiving is another thing in there.
I love
Yeah,
that.
all those three seem to come up almost equally for me.
Yeah. It's like oh, I wanted to say one of the things that I'm immediately excited about with 2025.
Yeah.
My good friend Christine, who is a friend of mine from Chicago,
Yeah.
she's a sister to me. She's
Yeah.
like she's fam. Also, Christine, for listening to this, hello, and I love you.
Hello, Christina, I love you too.
You should. She's fucking awesome. Um, but she, we've gone on vacations together. I've gone to Iceland with her a few times. Like, she shows up in amazing ways for me, and especially like very hard times in my life. And I try to show up for her, and she's just awesome. She's like one of those people I'm like, when we're 80, are we going to have a friend commune? Because one of those deals.
Yeah.
But she surprised me this year. She had a bit of some challenges last year as well, like we all do. And I tried to be there for her through those. And she essentially reached out to my husband without me knowing, and it was like, hey, I'm going to be booking a vacation and in January, and I needed to check these dates to see if Nora's calendar is clear. And so he's like, okay. And this is what I love about Kevin, because he's like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, let's do this,
Yeah, let's
And
do it. Yeah.
so he let her know that the dates were open. She's like, all right, here's the deal. I'm booking a vacation for me and Nora, a little girls trip. And we are, I'm not going to tell you where we're going. She's not allowed to know. It's a secret vacation. She hasn't told anyone where we're going. She gave me the dates. She's like, save these dates. And she is going to email me like 3 days before what I need to pack.
Yeah.
And then the day of my flight that she's already booked that, she's going to send me my boarding pass like a few hours before. And Kevin's job is to record as he's like driving me to the airport. He's supposed to text like I'm driving to the airport. And I won't know where I'm going until she sends me my boarding pass that morning.
Wow.
So,
amazing. I love
know
that.
For some people that's a nightmare, but I'm just so excited.
Oh no, how fun is that?
It's so fun. I'm like, this is going to be a yearly thing, I think. I'm already like, I can't wait to secret vacation her ass. When we got off the FaceTime call, when she told me this, she's like, you just need to say yes. And I was like, well, I mean, how can I say no to that?
Right.
I was like, she just ended the call with "See you soon, bitch," and I was like, "That's the name of our yearly girls' getaway. Is see you soon, bitch."
See you soon, bitch. I like it. That's funny.
I know. This has got to be
really
a thing.
funny.
So, listener, if you have the means to do this with a friend, do it.
Or, I mean, let's talk about other traditions that may not be as expensive as doing that, right? So, my friend Joe and I actually started one this year too that I really like. So it's how neither of us have like real jobs, right? So, we
what is a real job? Like a job is a job.
Where you go somewhere and you work, and then there's bosses and coworkers and stuff. We don't do that anymore.
I just have to share this because my husband and I laugh about this all the time.
Yeah.
My niece's girlfriend is absolutely hilarious and wonderful, and she's family as well. And she works at a like teaching swim lessons.
Yeah.
And she's 21. And we were laughing so hard because she was like, I need to get a real job. And Kevin's like, well, don't you teach swim instruction? And she's like, I mean, is it really a real job if you're not wearing pants?
Yes, it is my answer. Yes, it is.
Yes, there you go. I was cracking up at that.
The voice of experience. You can tell her from the older gentleman. Yes, you can work without pants. You can be a real job.
There you go.
But I'm wearing pants now, listeners. Don't worry. But,
am I or am I not? I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
You'll have to watch the YouTube. Anyway, so Joe and I, Joe is my lifelong friend who's 15 years my senior, and he's basically retired, and he's an audiophile, and I am very into music as well. And so we decided that every year now we're going to have an anti-office party, right? Because we don't have an office, right? So we're just going to, but we're going to do
I love that.
But so we did it this year, but it wasn't very well planned out. And so next year I have a whole thing, like we're going to do sort of the Office Olympics episode from The Office, that kind of thing. So we're going to have a little, but it's only going to be the two of us, right? So it's going to be like, but we're going to film it hopefully. And, if only we could get a copier to sit on, that would be great. But I don't think we're into that level yet of, if I get some financial means here, maybe I'll rent a copier for the day so we can sit on it. But yeah, it was just really fun. So he came up this year before Christmas, just a few days before Christmas. And we just spent the whole day in my place listening to music and hanging out and eating food, drinking coffee. It was just, it was lovely to do that. So I think that's going to be a yearly thing, the anti-office party.
I love that. That's great.
Really good.
This is the thing. Like, if you're going to live your life, make it fun. Just figure out the ways to make it fun.
I mean, gamify some shit. Come on.
Part of my curate thing is like, and I'm a lot more aware of this. Like, I have a lot of really, really funny friends.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to hang out with anyone that I'm not laughing with.
Yeah.
What's the point, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it's not fun, then what am I doing? Anyway,
I think we're lacking a serious amount of silliness in this country right now.
100%.
I mean, good silliness.
Yes.
There's a lot of silliness in this country.
There's
a lot of silliness, but in that sort of childlike play sort of way. When I used to run my trivia night, I used to have there was a thing I did called Battle of the Basement in the middle of the night, which is the two teams that are in last place, they can compete, but it's not a trivia question. They have to do a task right during it. So
Battle of the Basement.
Battle of the Basement. Yeah. So like on Halloween, like I said, okay, make yourself a toilet paper mummy. You have 1 minute, go. And like, so people are just like, just wrapping toilet paper. Their boyfriends are wrapping toilet paper around them. And best toilet paper money gets 5 points, right? So you get them back and they go. So it's just silly stuff like that. This is why I love the show Taskmaster that I talked about on our media episode, is because it's the silliest thing. People making fools of themselves in the most good-natured way.
love
It's
it.
so much fun to watch. It's so much fun to be a part of when you
Don't
do
take
stuff like
yourself
that.
too seriously, right?
Yeah,
Like, exactly.
yeah. I mean, we got to keep the fun in, man. Even if it starts looking dark, you got to keep the fun in because that's what keeps you alive, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you got to laugh through the rain. It's
it's even in funeral.
tough. It's yeah.
Fun in funeral.
Right? You got it.
And dysfunction.
Yes.
Anyway.
all of that.
All of it.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I want to look forward to more of that type of stuff in 2025. Planning little things that are silly like that.
Yep.
That like I want to plan a bunch of surprises for Kat. Oh, that was another thing I did want to talk about though. While Kat was away at Christmas, I did do something big for her again. And
Ooh,
listeners
right.
will remember last year I talked about redoing her front yard when she was gone. I didn't actually do that. I hired some people to come in and do the clear it all out and put some stuff down so she could plant a garden out there. So but this year I had no money. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I decided I was going to restyle her living room, bedroom, and bathroom while she was gone for 5 days in LA, and also go work for my client who I'm redesigning her house for. But I did it, and it was really cute because my mom and I sort of did it together, right? I mean, mom can't she's 82 and she's really spry, but she ain't getting up on ladders and stuff.
Right.
That's the thing. So her living room wasn't painted. So I finished painted, hadn't been painted, and it was partially painted for the 3 years that we've been going out. There's like one white wall, one half blue wall,
I can
trim not done. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. I get
that was
to
the first
80% done, and then I'm like, oh, and so I'm
Looks good
trying
enough,
to get
right?
better at trying to get better at completing a task.
Yeah. So I broke the ladder out and I painted the room first. And then I went about starting to restyle it out of stuff that she already had in her house. And then I got some stuff that was still left over from my store and I put that in there. Did do an IKEA trip and bought a couple pieces of small furniture, but pretty much it was a no-cost makeover, except I did want to do something with the bedding and other things like that. So I called her in the middle of the week and I said, if I asked you for $150 and asked you not to ask any questions, would you give it to me? And she was like, yeah. And so she just Venmoed me $150. I'm like, thanks, babe. This is great. This is going to buy a lot of cocaine. And so it turned into the running joke for the week because she's down there with her mom and her mom thought it was hilarious. And then I called again and I was like, babe, I got some bad news. And she's like, what is it? I'm like, I'm out of cocaine. I need some more money. She's like, how much do you need? I'm like, I need another $100 and then I'll be fine. So she ended up Venmoing me $250. I use that on all the bedding that I put on the bed
it.
and
I'm telling you, man, that investment in bedding, I've become that convert, man. If you spend your time in the bed, make it good.
Oh my goodness. Nice. I mean, I just redid my stuff on my bed and I got all like linen on there and I've never had all linen before because dogs and stuff,
Yep.
But Moose doesn't poke holes through things with his nails very much. So I thought, okay, I'll do it. And I'll tell you, every night when I get in bed, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And honestly, it didn't cost that much. So
yeah, you just reminded me part of speaking of the linen sheets and all that stuff, the bedding at least.
Yeah.
I was saying to Kevin the other night, because Kevin just turned 50.
Yeah.
I'm 49. I'll be turning 50 in 2025, which I'm like, what? Like, how did that happen? So I'm trying to wrap my brain around that. But I'm not young anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm not super old. So I'm like, all right. All right. I'm entering my bog witch era, but
bog witch era.
So embracing it. So no, but I was saying to Kevin, I was like, here's the thing, like I'm trying to unthread the I'm 25 years old and should not investing in quality, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't invest in quality when I was 20s, and even our 30s was a lot of we're gaining momentum with trying to save our money and make money and invest money and trying to be better about money, even though it was never really. It's been a decades of reading about how to build wealth, and we're not there yet, but I'm we're trying, and we don't have the financial commitments of
parents,
children, and stuff, but so we're trying to make smart decisions with our money is essentially it. With that though, as part of the curate thing is getting rid of the stuff that doesn't serve me anymore, and that is just kind of taking up space and cluttering my life, and also investing in more fewer but quality pieces that are going to last a while and are going to bring a little bit of, I don't want to say luxury, because when I say luxury that sounds like some ridiculously expensive bag, but fewer pieces in my my closet that are better quality that will like be like a more of a capsule wardrobe or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that
yeah,
like,
yeah. No, that makes sense.
and
Yeah,
same with bedding and
yeah,
like things like that and shoes and like stuff that is like it might cost a little bit more, but it will last far longer instead of be disposable. And that's the other thing. I don't want disposable culture shit
yeah.
anymore,
No, buy it once if you can. That's the
Exactly.
thing. This is why I decorated my place largely at a flea market and my store
Hmm.
and my
Hmm.
pre-existing art collection and things like that, and a few things off Facebook Marketplace. But I really didn't spend very much money in here. But
Hmm.
if you're patient, that's the other thing.
That is, yes.
If you're patient,
Yep.
somebody's going to be getting rid
Yep.
of
Some quality pieces.
yeah, an
Yeah.
arts and crafts break front or
Hmm.
a mid-century couch, and it's not going to be that much, and you're
Yep.
going to be the first one to the sale, and it's going to be
Yep.
awesome. So you just have to be willing to kind of sit with holes in your
That's exactly it.
design until you find the piece that you want, and that's part of the fun. Honestly, that's
Yeah.
part of curation, right? Is the hunt.
100%.
Yeah, it's the hunt
It's like
for it.
me collecting vinyl and stuff.
Yeah,
It's like I'm
yeah,
just like, no, I love that process, and it's something that I don't go out. I don't shop. I'm
yeah.
not a shopper. I'm a
No, me
buyer.
neither.
Like
Yeah,
I'm someone who's like I need or really like this particular thing. It will enhance my life in these ways, and then I
hmm,
like have a visualize what that is and what that looks like or what it feels like, and then I
yeah,
just kind of wait and keep my eyes open until I see it. And usually I'm looking for it and be like, all right, for retail, it's not often I pay full money for retail. For
yeah,
service, I will.
yeah.
But retail, it's like I don't want to do pieces that are just like uh, you know made in a sweatshop and
Well, and
across the
everybody
seas.
has them. That's the other thing.
Exactly.
If you look on the internet, because I'm a designer,
Everyone
so
looks
I
the
look on the
same.
internet. It's
Yep.
all looks the same.
Yep. It's
It's the
homogenous.
same stupid,
Modern farmhouse BS.
well, modern
I
farmers,
don't
but it's
want
the
to
same.
shit on that, but
That doesn't bother me. Like the different styles don't bother me, but stuff like gewgaws and knickknacks that don't do anything.
Temu.
Wooden chains and dumb
Yeah.
balls on your coffee table that don't do anything, and don't have anything to do with you. Yeah. Anyway, but
Dumb
let's
balls
relate
on
this
your
back.
coffee
Well,
table.
like wooden balls or
I
painted
know, it
balls or
just
whatever.
sounds a little iffy.
Just balls in a glass, on your coffee table, that kind of thing. You don't want it. Chains and balls and chains.
I'm not even gonna go where I was
It's
gonna
not
go.
okay. It's not okay, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to really get a lot more intentional with that
Yeah,
stuff.
but let's talk about that because it is good. It is good to think about that stuff when you're starting a new year, like to surround yourself. And we've talked about this in the other episodes too, though. But one of the only places you have control is over your space. So.
Yeah.
Invest in your space, whether that's time in terms of patience or money in terms of getting it quicker or, whatever it is. But,
Yep.
it makes a huge, huge difference to your psychology. And one thing I will say with that is just eliminating clutter is the first thing that you got to do.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yep.
so in Kat's house, in her bathroom that I redid, she had like an open cart with all of her products on it. Right. And she's got a lot of products. And so that's a lot of visual clutter. So all I did was go to IKEA and I bought a cabinet with 2 doors on it and had a nice wood top on there. Now there's a flat surface to put everything else, and everything else is on the bottom, which my mom sorted, by the way. She went through and sorted she said, you go ahead and build that cabinet. Give me all the stuff in that cart. And she went, I bought some little organizers for the inside of the cabinet. And my mom sat in her bedroom and for 2 hours just kind of put things into categories, nail polish and, this and that and all that stuff. And
what a labor of love. That's really cool.
It was sweet for me and my mom to work together that week too. That's
Yeah.
something I didn't mention, but it was really nice to kind of work shoulder to shoulder with my mom on making my partner's house a better place for her to be.
Oh, that's so, I love this.
Yeah. And my mom was really into it too. So it was
very
great.
Cool.
I loved it.
Very, very
Yeah.
cool. I
We
love
had a
that.
good
That's
week.
yeah. Anyway, I love these intentions,
Yeah.
talking about them because it kind of makes it more real. But these are
Yeah.
kind of the things I'm not wrestling with, but they're popping up in my head, and I'm like, that's interesting. I should really.
Yeah. I mean, I think 2024 was a year of me to realize what small differences can do in my life. You know what I mean? Like I living in the same house with my mother for the past 2 years while we're waiting for this project to be done taught me a lot of things about myself and a lot of things about my needs in terms of space and things like that, living with another person, because I hadn't had another person who was my roommate who wasn't my romantic partner in many, many years. Right. So living with my mom again was like a weird same house thing. But
I
learned that. Yeah.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
having, lost my father the way I did,
Yeah.
and my mom, moving my mom this year, and she's close by still, so that's good.
Yeah.
But I really, the thing is, and I know you know this, enjoy this time while you
Oh
have it.
yeah. No, I mean that's the
Like
great thing now is
I'm
like being
grateful
in
for
this
it.
I'm grateful for it too, especially being in this situation where I have my own place now too.
Yeah,
Our relationship's just immediately gotten better because we're not stepping over each other all day
you're
long,
not
you
driving
know.
each other nuts
No, we're
like
not
the
driving
odd
each other
couple.
nuts all day
Yeah.
long. Yeah, she's got to walk across the lawn to ask me an IT question, that kind of thing.
My older
So,
brother
yeah.
was real quick. My older brother was my oldest brother. I have two older brothers, but my oldest brother was kind of the person who, for years, was like a main caretaker of my father, as
Yeah.
through his dementia, and like helping my mom at our
Yeah.
house and living with them. and but it was like every time we go over there, you could see. I was like, man, there needs to be a camera crew over here because this would be a hilarious reality TV show. So
Yeah.
I kind of get it where they would just drive each other crazy,
Yeah.
in the midst of, and as soon as, they both moved out, their
Yeah.
relationship, he's like over there for tea and dinner and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
Absolutely.
yes,
Yeah, it's
be
funny.
challenging.
It's a funny thing to do. But anyway,
Yes.
bringing it back to our premise a little bit,
Mhm.
controlling your space in 2025, another thing I'm going to keep doing. The small things that have made such a huge difference is now I really have ultimate control over how clean my space is. When you're living with somebody, you really don't,
Yeah.
it can get here and there and it can make you sort of not want to clean and things like that. So my space is like spotless now and it's great. And it's made a huge difference in my sanity to come home every time I walk through the door and just be like, yep, nothing to be done.
Yep.
It's amazing. And having
That's
everything in its
awesome.
place and a place for everything and no clutter in my place has been amazing for me too. So,
There's such like mental
leaning into
freedom
that.
in that.
It's a huge thing psychologically. If you can
Totally.
do it, man. And it's tough. I know it's tough if you have kids because it's
Yeah.
almost impossible if you have kids. But if
But
it's
if
you
you
and
have
your
kids,
partner,
get
yeah.
those containers, like get a box with a
Yeah,
lid
yeah.
on it and just
Yeah.
shove all the shit in there. So it's like
Absolutely.
just, yeah.
It's all about
Yeah.
storage of stupid
Exactly.
plastic shit that kids want.
Exactly. That'll be gone in 2 years anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I get that.
Anyway, but let's go back to rituals because I know
Oh, yeah.
you probably had another few rituals that you wanted to mention that you
I
do in
do.
a New Year. What are those about?
New Year's Eve, well, this New Year's Eve was we stayed home, and typically Kevin and I will stay home. Originally we were gonna have people over, a few friends over for like a chill New Year's. And then I got sick, so
Yeah.
that got canceled. So it was just me sick and Kevin, who was well at that point, but a few days later he got sick with our dog, and our dog does not love fireworks, so
Right.
we
Yeah.
kind of try to stick around to keep her chill. And it was actually raining on New Year's here a bit,
Mhm.
and then so it wasn't, the fireworks were really not a huge issue. Like
Yeah.
she's been pretty stressed out before, um, but we have a fireplace, and before, when we've had a New Year's where we actually went outside and did like a little fire pit because the weather was actually okay enough to do that outside. But what I like to do is, from the year, I think about the things that were hard and challenging for me that I want to kind of release,
Mhm.
and and I write that down,
Yeah.
and I usually just have like a burn bowl ritual
Right.
of
Yep.
like, and you don't even need a fireplace, you can just like burn it in an
You just need
ashtray
a
or something.
match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like that shit. And it's kind of like a
Don't
just
do it
a,
outside in California, please. Just
No.
please put it
Jesus.
in a bowl and cover it inside your house. Oh my God.
Also, just real quick, and I
Yeah.
had the intention of like saying this at the end of this episode, but like if you're in LA or if you have family in LA, like I'm saying some prayers to the universe for you
Yeah.
all, and
Yeah.
it's
We're in the midst of a couple
terrible.
wildfires when this episode airs. So
We have a
yeah.
few. I have a few acquaintances that
Yeah,
lost their
as
homes.
do I. Yeah, as do I.
And like, it's scary. It's really
Yeah.
scary.
So
Anyway, send some money to wildfire organizations out there, or fire departments and things like that that can help support, because
yeah.
if you're able, or just like at least like send some good juju their way because it's needed.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the burn bowl.
Yes.
What a segue.
Yeah.
I usually just will, like, one by one, really reflect on it, throw it in the fireplace, and just like in my head, like, I release this, like a
Mhm.
declaration.
Yeah.
This year was interesting too, because I wrote down my intentions, some of my
Mhm.
intentions for 2025. And one of the things that kind of just came through me, I guess, I wrote some declarations for 2025.
Okay.
Like kind of like the it's like there's the Declaration of Independence, of course, the native Philadelphia area girl I am.
Right.
But it's like, that's powerful because it basically started a new nation, declaring
Sure.
your your needs. And
Are
your
you
wants.
starting a new nation, Nora?
The nation of Nora.
The nation of Nora.
An inner nation.
I like
No,
it.
there are some. I think I sent them to you that night because I was kind of like, well, all right, I'm gonna. They're not wishes, they're not resolutions. They were just like declarations of what I
I usually ignore your text, so could you tell us a couple of them are?
Let me pull it up. Thanks, Paul. Sure, it meant so much to you. I'll share them.
I don't recall. Please,
it feels a little
please.
weird. I have them right here because I took a photo of them before.
Well, you don't have to share anyone that's uncomfortable. Just share.
No, they're not uncomfortable.
Give us a vanilla one.
They're not uncomfortable. There are 6 of them that I wrote down that came to me, and then I like in the ritual burnt them to like, here you go, universe. Kind of like.
Got it.
So, first declaration is I declare a calm, clear, curious mind.
Nice.
Second was I declare a healthy, lean, strong, and agile mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
Third was I declare financial freedom. The fourth was I declare creative flow.
Mm-hmm.
The fifth was I declare freedom through discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And the sixth was I declare more connection through kindness and respect.
Cool. That's all good. The fifth one sounds like a little BDSM action there, though. Can you read that one again?
Wait,
Number 5. Number 5. Could you just read number 5?
I declare freedom through discipline.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Dude. No, what I mean is
now we know a little bit too much about Nora.
Jesus
Sorry.
Christ, no.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant. I'm just giving you the
Let me
jazz.
clarify for the listeners that Paul is so graciously now infected with his
dirty mind.
What I mean by that is like freedom through discipline in, I'm not like saying like you got to go and join a CrossFit gym or something like that, but there's freedom in your mind, body, and spirit when you have created some habits to
personal discipline. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I understand.
I think one of the things I want to do in 2025 is explore writing more, because that's something I think I might have a gift in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I do that enough, so I want to see where that goes. And there's a few other things, but yeah, those are my declarations.
I like it. I like the declaration.
The Declaration of Nora's Independence.
It's funny with I was just talking about the group with this the other night too. Because we were talking about hobbies a little bit, and I was talking about how I mean, I'd probably like to pick up a new hobby on the side, something to do. But I mentioned to the guys like I'm almost 60, man. I'm 57. I mean, I'm getting there. Like 3 more years.
Don't jump the gun. You're not almost.
I'm not jumping the gun, but you start. Well, at least I start.
And sexy.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
there
sexy.
you go. So are you saying I have to become sexy in the next 3 years too?
That's a lot
to
get. Okay,
thank you. But I was talking about the fact that when you're in your mid 50s or whatever, you've tried a lot of stuff. You've had hobbies like you do, and like I have more trouble. Like when I was younger, I'd be like, "Ooh, I want to try that. I want to try that. I want to try that. I want to try that." And now I'm like, tried those. I tried a lot of things, and now I'm like, okay, well, I don't like action sports and I'm 57. So it's like, what am I going to try that's going to turn me on that much? I don't know what the next hobby for me is, but it gets a little bit more difficult as you get older because you've tried a lot of things and discarded a lot of things and
the
held on to a lot
things,
of things.
right?
Yeah.
When you're, that's the thing I think a lot about this is like, and I actually had a conversation with my friend who I also work for, who went to some new place that he had never been and experienced some stuff. And then when he got back, I was like, "How was your trip?" And he was like, "It was awesome, but I got to say, I feel like a little bit like melancholy and I'm back and stuff." And he was kind of like not struggling with it, but like recognizing that. And I was like, "Yeah, it's because you had a new novel experience. And at this age, those are fewer and further between unless you are practicing to have newer experiences. And so your brain is like, oh, that was really cool. And you're kind of coming down from it." And he was like, "Yeah, you're right. That's exactly it." And I was like, "Yeah, I get it." It's like every time I go to Iceland and I experience some new cool shit, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Every year I used to come back from Europe, I'd be like, I'd get back in an American supermarket and just go like, "Can we go back? Can I get out of here again?"
Yeah. But that's the thing. I think that's why travel is important to me because growing up, I didn't have the opportunity to travel. Like traveling for me as a kid was taking a car trip to the Jersey Shore.
Same.
sometimes my family didn't do it. The Jersey Shore was it. And then
Yeah.
we're close enough to the Poconos. Like the big trip would be like, oh, we took the train, or like there was
Yeah.
a class trip to New York or DC, which is
Right.
great.
Yeah.
But also like I didn't have extensive travel. The first time I went to Europe was right after college, where a friend of mine was like teaching there, so it was like a free place to stay, and
Yeah.
that was like the first time I went there. And I've driven cross country a few times, but it's like, and then in my 30s, I mean, my 20s didn't have the money for it. I was living in California and trying to pay rent there in San
Right.
Francisco, and then like
Yeah.
my 30s, Kevin and I worked. Like it was just work, 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 and like we're still working a lot, but it's we're trying to steal where we can and get a lot more intentional about where we want to go
Yeah.
to experience new stuff. And
Yeah.
that's another thing for
Yeah.
2025, because Kevin turned 50. I kept asking him like, what do you want to do for your, like, to honor your 50th rotation around the sun?
Yeah.
And when he was turning 40, I had told him, pick a place and I'll buy the airfare and we'll figure out the whole trip and we'll go. And he had picked Scotland. And right before then, like, I had started planning that trip, and then I had the audacity to go and get cancer.
Yeah.
And so that got scrapped. So now
Selfish.
yeah, so
Sorry.
selfish. What an asshole. No, but he's like, he was saying, why don't we, I think Scotland is where we're pointing the arrow. So I keep asking him, like, trying to get a better idea of like, all right, what time of year do you want to go there? And so we're thinking a trip to Scotland sometime in 2025.
Nice.
I'll be turning 50, and I'm thinking about what I want to do to honor that. I have a few
Yeah.
ideas. But yeah, so travel is novel. Like, it's new stuff you get to experience, and I love that. So.
And also, it's not available to everybody because of their financial reasons or because of time. But I will say, and I am on a low financial, part temporarily right now in my life. So what I do when I need a vacation is I will try to find well, I just moved to a new city, so it's easy for me, but I'll take a day trip within my city, and maybe I'll even walk, like I'll try to go to a new park, or I'll go to a new part of the city, or a new store or something. It's just something to shake it up and to not be, this, because I am sort of a homebody, taking care of my mom and doing my work from here. It's like, so I have to actively plan, like, getting out amongst people before I can become this a weirder hermit than I already am, a bog witch. Yeah, I mean, I sort of am. Yeah,
you're a bog wizard.
It follows your villain era, right? Is your bog witch era, right? I mean, it just slides right into it. It's like, whoa, yeah, no. But anyway, that kind of day travel, Kat and I do a lot down in the Bay Area too, because it's really, her house is not that far from Marin, so it's pretty easy to jog over the bridge and get to Point Reyes in like an hour or something.
That's so
and
great. That
just
whole
spend,
area,
just spend the area and somewhere that doesn't at all feel like citified California. It's just country, rolling hills and cows and, coffee. And it's just lovely. And we like driving together. So, I mean, you don't have to break the bank, but do get out this year, because it's important to get out and be in, especially being in nature. I would say that's the main thing. Being in nature.
Literally just about to say that. Like, if you live somewhere, I mean, just get out into some trees if you have them around you, or like trails and stuff like that. Just like, I do love traveling around in like my own area. Like, I get to live in the Philadelphia area. Philly's tons of great food, tons of great culture. Not everything is expensive. Like, stuff you can get for free or do for free. There's so much diversity here and the surrounding area. You have mountains just like an hour north of you. You've got beaches an hour east of you. You've got you've got other cities and train connections and things like that. It's great.
Sure.
And trees and farms and all that stuff. So I definitely feel the same. And if you got San Francisco by you, the Bay Area is amazing.
Yeah,
like,
you really don't need to go anywhere.
You don't need to. And like, if you don't have the money and the means, you still get to have that as your playground. It's pretty great.
Yeah, absolutely. Even here in Sacramento, I find that which is an hour and a half from the Bay Area, but I find that what I've taken to doing is, like, when I walk the dog and when I walk myself, what is really looking, like, really taking, I can't take a slow walk because of the dog, but really observing all the time. I see so much new stuff because, you know, once you walk down the street, your brain just kind of goes, okay, I saw that. There's this house over here, this house over there.
Yep.
But if every time you walk down that same street, you really pay attention to what's around you, stuff changes all the time. And atmospherically, all kinds of things. I mean, I stopped my mom the other day on a walk. I said, look at that. There was some green grass growing through a crack in the road. And the sun, it had just stopped raining, and there was like a beam of sunlight that was just illuminating that one strip of road right there. And we probably stood there for 3 minutes just looking at it. It was amazing, you know. It's that kind of stuff. I'm trying to bring the wonder back into my life by means of intense observation of my surroundings, engagement. You know, not just saying, well, there's Bernadette's house again, but like, oh my God, look what's happening over here. You know.
It's interesting. You're reminding me, like, for on the day of Kevin's birthday, he took the day off. I had the day off, and so I had planned like just a day out and about. And this is another thing that I was like, oh, going into 2025, I also have this intention because of this day, because we had, again, like I said, 2024, there wasn't a lot of like Kevin and I focus just on the two of us, and it was for everyone else. But on his birthday, I planned this day date, and it was we went to one of those float tanks. So that was cool because he was like, I'd like to try that, and so we went and tried that. It was pretty cool. I think I would do it again.
Nice.
And then we went and got some food. We were in a town called Westchester, which is just west of Philadelphia, and it's like and they have first off, there's amazing pizza there, like really good pizza. So we got some pizza at this pizza place, and there's some world-class chocolatier there that we went to. And I took him to this place called the Book Barn. It's a over 200-year-old barn that is just filled with like books and library, and it's freaking awesome, and it's like historic and beautiful, and it's on this beautiful land. And then we like drove all through the Brandywine River Valley, which is like all Andrew Wyeth country, to the Brandywine River Museum for a Morton Esherick exhibit, which was fantastic. And it was all stuff that it's always been around me that I had never done. And so I was like, it was this great day date, and it was just like we got to like connect like we haven't in a while. And I was like, we need to do this at least once a month. You know, like, so that's another priority of ours, is to like just have a date.
Yeah, that's awesome. And two, I mean, another thing, you know, after I had done Kat's thing over Christmas, you know, she came back last week, and we tackled another household project together, and we really haven't done too much shoulder to shoulder working together. Usually like I'll do we'll work at the same time, but she'll do one project in the house, I'll be in the yard, or, you know, whatever. And we really worked shoulder to shoulder on this one. And I found like it was such a great feeling afterwards. It almost felt like we had a date.
That's
you know, and we were doing a very stinky part of home renovation. We were like, we were clearing out a storage space that neither of us really wanted to tackle, you know?
Right.
But it was great. I mean, we were just working together, and it was like it was like a little date. So I'm trying to find more joy in small things like that, instead of like taking them on as a burden, like, oh, there's this task we have to do and it's really horrible. We had a great attitude. We put on some music. The dogs were in there with us, running around, messing stuff up while we're trying to get things done. We're yelling at them, and we're doing all this, you know, and we spent the whole day doing it. But damn if we didn't knock it out and got rid of all the junk that we needed to get rid of, donated what we could donate, and it all happened in one day, and we both felt closer to each other after it. It was just amazing. So, I mean, awesome. I think I love that. I want more of that in 2025 too. More of that shoulder to shoulder type of, because it's a different kind of intimacy you build when you work together like that, and you actually have you get a better understanding of somebody through how they do things as well, I think.
Absolutely.
So it was a really nice thing for us to do that. So small, no cost, you know, which is really important to both of us right now, because we're both like, we both need to spend our money in very specific ways at the moment. Yeah. So yeah, we're trying to find really creative things to do like that. And, you know, where Kat lives is another thing I will say. She lives in Point Richmond, and there's this on her street, there's all these fairy houses. You saw them when you were out here, right? And so there's tons of stuff like that around too that people just don't know about in the Bay Area. And so all day long, like when we're sitting on the porch in the springtime, it's just families coming up and down the street, little kids just full of wonder, not looking at their phones, looking at these little fairy houses. There's one artist who makes all of them on this street, and every house has a fairy house, and he does all of them. And thank goodness he did that project, because people flock from all over the Bay Area. And it's also on a really steep hill. So by the time the kids get down to the bottom, they're ready for a nap too. It's great. Yeah, you can tire your kids out. amazing. You don't have to do anything.
That's cool.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's like,
incredible. Stuff like that.
I love. I always get like a juiced when I see like the little libraries, and there's
Little
like
libraries
there's
are another
there's
thing.
a few in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, like
I
same
know.
thing. I'm always looking through the books there.
I want to start a thing on my blog called Driveway Disco in the springtime, where people can come and just like I'll just spin some records, and people can just come and talk to each other. I think that'd be pretty funny. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do it. Please do it.
I'm going to.
Record
I'm going to
it.
do it. I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Driveway disco.
Driveway disco.
Here's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
the world is literally on fire.
Yeah.
There's a lot that feels like an enormous dumpster fire. Like, joy is resistance. And like, grab joy wherever you can, create joy wherever you can.
Man, that should be the motto for the next 4 years: is joy is resistance.
100%. And I think we need to do an episode on that. But like
100%, because the anger that we all feel, or the disappointedness that we all feel, that's not
disconnect.
The disconnect. That's not doing anything for us psychologically or physically. We're ruining our own mental health, and we're ruining our own physical health by not indulging in joy as the type of resistance. You know, be the thing you want to see in the world. Well, I want to see more joy in the world, and I want to see more people getting along in the world, not less.
I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people think that they mistake that pleasure is going to bring them what joy will bring them. And those are two different things to me.
Well, talk about the distinction that you think that is real quick.
Pleasure, I think, can be like, like a massage or like things like that it's like that'll bring, or like a fancy food, or when it all has its place. Don't get me wrong. If you want to do that, that's great. But joy to me is like connecting. Like, it doesn't have to cost anything. Like, joy to me is when I hit a dance floor and the right music is on, and the right people are getting down, and we're all on the dance floor just singing along. And like, that's, to me, that's like my church.
Joy is a vibe, right?
It's a vibe. And like, one of the things that I like have seared in my brain is like my friend Christine I was talking about earlier. Was it last year or 2 years ago? God, I don't even know. Christine was out here, and so was my German friend Anya, and it was great because we did a day trip, like a girls' day trip to the Jersey Shore, and it was like, the great thing about the Jersey Shore, it's not only what you see on TV, although that does exist. Is it is a cheap and or free day trip from this area for anyone to go and enjoy running around on a beach and ocean for free without your kids being on iPads and like engaging in nature and the wonders of the ocean, right? And so we had this beautiful day of hanging out the Jersey Shore and like getting some boardwalk beats and stuff. But one of the biggest joys for me is like, we just went swimming in the ocean, and I love swimming in the ocean. And just looking at my two friends who don't get to do this all the time, like the way that I grew up doing this, and seeing the giant smiles on all our faces, it was just joy, and that more of that, please. Like, when I ride my bike is joy.
Yeah. I think that just brings to mind, like, this phrase popped to me, like, be willing to be distracted from your own depression by joy, or like be willing to have joy be your distraction sometimes to get you out of the place. And it's so true that those experiences like that, when you're having them with other people, it doesn't really matter if it costs anything, and it doesn't really matter if it's luxury or not luxury. It's more about just the vibe of being with those folks, or the vibe that you have being in nature if you're by yourself, or whatever it is.
Right.
I got it walking down the street yesterday. I was like, all of a sudden I just felt really full.
Yeah.
And it was great. And
you
it was
put
awesome.
a pair of roller skates on my feet, and I have instant joy, or like a certain, there are certain things that bring me joy. And and I've noticed for myself, like, I can experience joy on my own, but it gets multiplied the more I share it with other people.
100%. Right? 100%. Like, yeah,
that's
absolutely.
It's amplified. It's more of that. I'm trying to pay attention to those things.
I love that. I love that. Well, the clock says 1:11 p.m. So what a good numerological time to bring this for a landing, right?
Hey, Paul, I love you.
I love you. Oh, I love you too, Nora. I love you too. And so, speaking of 1:11, though, I just tell this one little story. I was watching a video with Denzel Washington the other day, and he was talking about synchronicity. And he goes, when you start seeing like 11:11 on the clock, I looked down to the corner of my screen.
Yep.
It was 11:11. I mean, what? Do with that what you will, but
I love it. Exactly. What you will.
Whatever comforts you,
Exactly.
And sometimes seeing stupid
crazy
numbers
thing called life.
It comforts me. So there's
Who
that.
knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Wait. I hear moose.
Yeah, but the dog just went running toward the door. I don't know why, but there it is. Anyway.
Well, I love you, Paul.
I love you
Happy
too.
New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, listeners. Thank you for
Happy
tuning
New
in with
Year.
us this year. We hope that you are, going to have some plans for it to safe, and you're going to have some plans for 2025 that's going to bring more joy to your life too. And I hope just by hearing us talk about it, maybe we push you in that direction a little bit. That
More
would be
joy,
great.
more peace, more security, more love.
Yeah, all that stuff.
All that stuff.
All right. We'll be back next week as usual. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you then. Yay. Bye. If you'd like to get in touch with us about anything you've heard on the show, please feel free to drop us an email at ifweonlyknewthenpod@gmail.com.